Welcome back. This is Jessica Alexandrakis again, and we will be continuing our tiny coaster MugRug project with some hand quilting next. Today we will be using pearl cotton number 8. It's a nice thick cotton. This one's a Oran Bayan, but you see it says size 8. I prefer to use an embroidery needle, size 9. Use whatever feels good in your hand, but these are sharp enough to get through all the layers with an eye big enough to handle the pearl cotton. Of course, trusty thimble. Whoop. Use whatever feels good on your hand. And a thread cutter, or you can have your scissors close by. This one's from Clover. And I'll also be using my Robot Mom Sews Unicorn Thread Gloss. This is a thread conditioner, which I found that you can use in pearl cotton. I will go ahead and put the link. You can Google it, of course. The link was in the email that I sent out to everybody taking the Big Stitch class. This is Never Ending Story scented, and oh my gosh, it smells amazing. All right, guys, so the first thing that we want to do when we're going to be started quilting here, first we need to thread our needle. Now, when we do a small project like this, my recommendation is you're going to cut your pearl cotton about 5 to 6 inches longer than the length of the line you want to stitch. So I'm just going to put some simple lines in here. This is a total of a 6-inch block that I'm working on, and I give myself a bit of a thread tail here. But you don't want to try to sew too far with the pearl cotton because it does fray a little bit. The thread conditioner helps there, but next I want to use my thread conditioner, so I'm going to thread my needle. Forgive me as I do this off camera. I have recently gotten incredibly old and I can't see anything. Don't mind me, folks. I'm not going to stop quilting, that's for sure. All right, so I do thread, and we're going to be working with a single strand of pearl cotton here. I tie a knot at the bottom by crossing, laying the needle across the thread on my fingertip, wrapping it around twice, holding it with my thumb, and pulling it through. I'm going to come over here to my thread gloss. All you have to do is hold the thread across the pot of gloss. It's got a consistency of lip gloss, a little bit thicker. And then run your fingers over it a few more times to let that gloss sink into the thread, and that will definitely cut down on the fraying and tangles. All right. So I will be burying the knot into the seam allowance, or into the edge here. So my first line is just going to go right across here. I'm going to reach over, bury my knot in just the batting. I'm not going through the back, okay? And I'm going to bring it up where I want to start stitching. Pull that. See, nice, secure. All right, good. Almost forgot my thimble. And then that's all good there. When you start stitching, you can bunch up the patchwork in your hand here. Remember, those pins have it nice and secure. Nothing's happening. It's not going anywhere. I use my needle as a guide to keep a straight line. And I go up and down. 1 or 2 stitches on the first run, that's fine. Use my needle to push that through. You might have to work it in a little bit, but trust it, it'll go through. And then you want to use your fingernail to kind of stretch that out a little bit. And you see, the nice thing about big stitching with a pearl cotton is you can take less stitches per inch. Again, I line it up over those stitches to keep my straight line going. You don't have to have perfectly even stitches. Of course, if you're a perfectionist, go for it, but anybody who's taken a class with me knows that I'm not. I definitely like the process of making the stitches, and I want it to look handmade when I'm done. Here you're going through several layers because you have the seam allowance. Again, work it through a little bit and you're fine. Now I'm going to sew this line. You can see I don't take more than 3 stitches at a time because, I don't know, it's just what I tend to do. And then you can bunch it up this way. Again, you notice I'm using those lines on my needle to follow the line. And I didn't draw out a stitching line here. You can mark a stitching line if you'd like to in removable pencil or water-soluble pen. But with super straight lines that I'm just following the patchwork grid itself, I tend not to and let it go a little bit more organically. Oop, sorry, got stuck there. Oh, look, my lines are not perfectly even, but you can see they're nice and big, chunky. We'll put in a few more. And when you get to the end of your stitching, there we go, I got 3 on that one. When you get to the end of the stitching here, I'm going to go in here, take a slightly larger stitch in the back. Can you see? Oh, hold on, I got stuck in the batting. Flatten it out, the whole thing, okay? And then I'm going to go back in here and do a back stitch, coming up into the seam allowance, into the batting in the back, between the top and the back. So it looks just like a regular stitch here, but really that was a back stitch coming out to secure the end of that line. And then I fold it over and I make myself a little knot there, wrapping it around my needle twice, holding it as secure as possible. Oh, the batting gets everywhere, but it happens. And then leaving that knot right there. Get that off. And there you go. First line of stitching is done. I'm going to continue to follow my stitch lines, my patchwork, to make a grid here on this little mat. As I said, you can notice not entirely straight here because I did not mark the line, but that is a look that I tend to prefer. If you have a herringbone marker, one of these, also made by Clover, you can use it to mark a stitching line. These things are wonderfully convenient. Oh, forgive my dog as somebody walks in front of the house. You see, now I have a line that I can pretty much guide along the way. And if I want to come here and put a line again, you know, you can mark up your entire piece before you start stitching. Oh, see, even that isn't straight though, guys. This is just how I do things. All right, well, thank you very much for watching my video. Please make sure you're following my Instagram. It's at Jessica_Alex. Occasionally the blog gets updated. That's lifeunderquilts.blogspot.com. And I look forward to sewing with you guys in the future. Thank you.